and welcome to the technically December version of the CSC Sports Road Show. I'm Dave Collins. We're a day early, but the way the schedule and things work out, we're going to take place tonight here at the Ridge in downtown Chadron on this final day of November. So welcome in. We are again live at the Ridge here tonight for the next hour with 4 guests on this month's Road Show. It is Whiskey and Wings Wednesday down here at the Ridge. Come down hungry and ready to have a good time. And our Road Show is always brought to you by Security First Bank here in western Nebraska and our great friends down at Security First Bank here in the local Chadron location. All right, let's tell you about our guests coming up on the program tonight. We have cross-country head coach Luke Karamitros. He's going to give us an overview of how the season went, talk about things in regionals, RMAC, and focus on a special young man as well who's just getting his cross-country season and career started with his first season, Topi Alahuda. He will join Luke Karamitros with us in the first couple of segments of the program tonight to talk about cross-country and more. Then, a little bit later, around 6:25, we'll have Jacob Jefferson. You remember him from the men's basketball team. Called his name a lot. A lot of big plays for Jake in his career. He is now an assistant coach on the women's side, so Jake will join us on the program right about 6:25, and then finishing things out later tonight around 6:40, 45 or so, we'll have Porter Anderson. Everybody in town, we all know Porter. He's a fan favorite for the men's basketball team, off to a terrific start with CSC once again this year, and so that's our lineup tonight. We're talking cross-country and hoops on the CSC Sports Road Show. I'm Dave Collins. So glad you're joining us. We will be back with our first guest, head coach Luke Karamitros of CSC Cross Country, right after this.
The new Valor General Store in Hemmingford has hardware, housewares, lawn and garden, plumbing, Benjamin Moore paint, electrical, auto supplies, and more. Check out the gun shop in Hemmingford Tuesday through Saturday, 8:30 to 5:30.
CSC Road Show, proudly presented by Security First Bank. Yes, welcome back to the Ridge here in downtown Chadron. It is Whiskey and Wings Wednesday, and it's our CSC Sports Road Show presented by Security First Bank. I'm Dave Collins, and along with me tonight, our first guest of the evening, we're going to talk about cross-country with Coach Luke Karamitros. Luke, welcome aboard the show. How have you been? Maybe not the best running weather out there today, but did you get a jog in or get a run in today?
Well, not me, man. It's been a while since I've been getting the legs turned over, especially with the really busy cross-country season. But our kids are still bouncing back. They took some time off thanks to Thanksgiving break and whatnot. So they're just getting back into the swing of things once we transition here into like the indoor and outdoor track season.
Did you tell them before they went home for Thanksgiving, hey guys, maybe not quite as much turkey or quite as much stuffing, or to kind of keep that running shape going, or just said, it's been a long season, just get after it?
No, exactly. A lot of these kids, they've been training really hard since June and whatnot to get ready for our big regional and RMAC championship. So I told them, hey, it's good to kind of go back home, take some time to relax and kind of enjoy all those festivities and whatnot. So I'm not like that kind of guy to go around and control every little aspect of their lives.
Got to have a little trust in them, right?
Exactly. And they're a great group to be able to do that.
That's great. All right, Luke Karamitros with us, cross-country coach here at Chadron State. Coach, give us an overall season review. How did things go for the team? It's kind of amazing. We're already talking about a season wrap-up. It went really, really fast.
Yeah, it always does. It always does. Going into this season, I had like a lot of thoughts. I thought it was going to be a pretty wide spectrum of what to expect. With such a young group that we have this year, and I think that they came out really, really well. They competed, extremely well at our first few meets, and then we put together, a lot of good training and whatnot before going out to a great race in Kansas. And a lot of our individuals, they came through with some great performances that broke into the top 10 relative to the Shatter State history and whatnot. And then then we try to piece it together. But we're kind of running on fumes a little bit because of how young of a team that we have. But at the end of the day, I mean, they execute in such a great manner that I can't be any prouder than what they did.
And it's always a good finish to the season, right, when you have a higher finish than the year before at regionals in both the men's and the women's side. So it sounds like some improvements, some nice strides forward made as you're getting the program on that upward trajectory.
Exactly. Our men, they improved 5 spots, going from 21st and from last year, and improving a really good margin there on the men's side. And that also came from even having like a completely new 5 that I had from last year. My top 5 scorers run, and then you add up all the points together and to get to whatever place that you finish at. And so they have a brand new 5 on the men's side, and on the ladies' side having a brand new 4 there. So to be able to see those improvements is absolutely huge.
That's terrific. Luke Karamitros with us talking CSC cross country. What were the biggest challenges for your teams this year, and how'd you guys overcome those to have those improvements overall? Yeah, so with a young team, there's always growing pains, kind of learning those individuals. Within a team sport like ours, where your number 1 is as important as your number 5, trying to coach them as a group, but also the individual takes some learning. Yeah. And so to have such a young group, both on the men's and women's side, I had to adapt some things throughout the season, but so at times I could tell, like, hey, I had to make some adjustments as a coach, and I had to gotta keep my ego in check at times relative to maybe not overextending them at times. So all in all, we're growing through those things, and we're moving in the right way. That's great. One of the top athletes on your team is going to join us after we're done visiting here after our next break. But let's have you talk about him a little bit here. Topi Alahulta is going to be here with us. And Topi, again, tell us about his year. He did really good at regionals, your top overall finisher. What was so great about his first season, just a freshman? Yeah,
we were so excited to get him into the program because, he had a really standout career as a high schooler in Colorado. It's an extremely deep, cross-country type of state down there. So, he performed really well at the high school ranks, and I was really hoping to see that immediate impact, and he showed that out. He had the best finish ever for a true freshman in Shatter State history. Wow. So for him to come out in 69th place in a really, really tough region, and to be able to really kind of put his foot out there of like he's going to be a menace, I think, moving forward in these future years. Yeah, man, that's great to see out of a freshman so much success like that, and awesome to hear about. How about the biggest surprise on the team? Was it Topi, maybe, that he was as good of a runner as he started out, or what were some of the surprises this year, pleasant ones? Yeah, a big theme that we've been talking about here has been, the young group, right, and how easy it is to be able to work with them, be able to have that, and that's always a good surprise as a coach, you know. Charles Fossey on the men's side, Lexi Rule on the ladies' side. All these people are true freshmen for us. These high schoolers from the college scene going from a 5K to a 10K, they're doubling their high school distance, right? 3.1 miles of racing is long, so they go to 6.2 miles worth of racing, and to be committed for over 30 minutes takes some maturity. So then to already show that, that's a big surprise to me. Boy, that's incredible. Just 3 events before the RMAC Championships in regionals, Coach. You look at the schedule, it looks like kind of a shorter, condensed schedule. Is that typical for cross country, or was that something unique this fall? Yeah, that's usually pretty typical. Whenever you look at maybe like other teams' schedules and whatnot, sometimes it looks like they have a beefier schedule, but a lot of times that's due to they have much larger rosters. So their varsity runners are usually only competing 4 to 5 times a year. But for us, we don't quite have that depth yet. We're really improving on that. Really excited for next year's recruiting. We already have 5 ladies committed for next year. Great. And we already have 3. I was talking to Topi, one of his old teammates. He's, I think, very close to wanting to make his commitment here at Shatter, which is to make another 3 men for next year. So all in all, it's like to be able to kind of see that growth there as well. Has been huge. Do you want to try and go out and find any different races next year or add to the schedule for next year? Do you feel like your team might be ready to take on an additional one on the schedule, or are you kind of happy where you're at right now and with the courses that you guys currently run? Yeah. I think next year, with scheduling, whatever, it always differs from the year. Now that I'm like learning them a little bit more, I knew like the main focus had to be more of like what we did here at home. And now that I get to learn more about them, now next year we could play around a little bit more, and because now I'm certainly going to have a lot more confidence in what their capabilities of what we can do next year. That's great. All right, Coach Luke Karamitros with us tonight on the show.
Coach, the RMAC has some of the best cross-country programs in the country. It's
Absolutely.
pretty phenomenal to see some of the other schools that we compete with and what they're able to accomplish. And it sounds like you've got us on a northward trajectory to get up towards that. What kind of stuff do you want to do to build CSC up to that level where people look at us and say, hey, this is a cross-country powerhouse as well?
Right. I mean, in the preseason, the rankings came out. 3 of the top 5 teams in the country were all from the RMAC, both on the men's and women's side.
Yeah.
So to be able to crack into such depth like that is not an easy task, but it takes the individuals and the recruiting to make that happen. And individuals like Topi, like Charles, like Lexi, it takes those individuals to even have that chance and have that opportunity. And I'm so excited to continue working with them and just kind of see their growth. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be ups. There's going to be downs over these next 3 to 4 years. Yeah. But I know they have what it takes for us to really start moving up the ranks.
Do you feel like Chadron's a pretty good place to train for cross country? Because we're at 3,300 feet, I think. So you're not a mile high like Denver, but you're not at sea level either. So they're a bit of a built-in training advantage by just being in this wonderful place to live.
Yeah, I mean Chadron in and of itself. I mean with all the great dirt roads that we get to run on, and all the ranches that we run by and wave at the cows and whatnot. It's really awesome. The views out here are certainly very underrated. Yeah, sure we don't have the Rockies in our backyard, but we have more than what it takes to be able to start chipping away at those programs. Yes, it would be nice maybe to have some of the higher elevations at times because we, at RMAX where we struggled a little bit more, that's a big difference going from 3,300 feet to 7,000 plus feet.
Right, right.
That's certainly a challenge. But whenever we went to a place that's more feasible, like Denver, we had much better success because that was only 5,200 feet. So I know certainly we're still able to capitalize on the things around us to still be extremely successful.
Are there things that you've tried to do to get your runners ready for the altitude other than running at that high altitude? Yeah. Is there something you can do here that can build up the lung capacity or build up the stamina that's necessary, even though you can't physically make it to those levels here?
Yeah, so a big thing that we like to utilize around here are the hills. There's no really flat area around here. Everything is up and down, up and down. So we try to capitalize on those as much as we can to be able to run the hills, try to help simulate those really hard efforts that we're going to have to go into. Ultimately, when we're racing at those really high elevations, it really does come down to pacing and being kind of having the confidence in me as a coach to understand hey, it's okay to go out there a little bit slower than what you think, and kind of know it's going to pay off in the end because some other people who want to be a little more aggressive in those kind of elevations, they'll pay for it. Yeah. So you gotta be really patient in those scenarios.
Great stuff tonight, Coach Luke Caramitros, CSC cross country head coach. Kind enough to be our first of 4 guests tonight on the CSC Sports Road Show. Luke, great stuff. Thanks so much. We appreciate hearing from you. Thanks for coming on.
It was a pleasure.
All right. That's Luke Caramitros. We're going to come back and talk to one of his top runners. That is Topi Alahulta, a freshman. He'll be next on the CSC Sports Road Show, presented by Security First Bank, live here at the Ridge tonight in Chadron.
Are you new to the firearms industry? Want more information or training? The gun shop at Valor General Store in Hemingford can help you select your first firearm. Don't see what you're looking for? We will special order items as well. Tell us it's your first time in the store and you'll get a free gift.
CSC Rd Show, proudly presented by Security First Bank.
Welcome back tonight to the Ridge. It's Whiskey and Wings Wednesday. It's our CSC Sports Road Show presented by Security First Bank. Once again, I'm your host, voice of the Eagles, Dave Collins, and we are on guest number 2 of 4 tonight. A jam-packed full show for you here, talking CSC sports in our program tonight. And we just talked to your head coach, Luke Caramitros. Now we've got freshman cross-country runner Topi Alahulta. And Topi, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on. You're just a freshman at Chadron State College and already jumping into this radio video gig here.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be on.
It's good to have you here, Topi. Thanks for coming on. We're going to talk to you about all kinds of great things in your short and early running career, learn why you liked running and stuff. Let's begin with your first season collegiately, which you guys just finished up. How did it go to comparing to the expectations that you had coming out of high school now that you're a college runner?
I exceeded all the expectations I had coming in. I remember in the summer working hard, just my hope was, man, maybe I can make that top 7 and get to run at that regional meet in Denver. That was all I cared about. Maybe I get the chance to run there. And it went a lot better than that. And then after high school, because I'm a Finnish citizen, I had to do military service in Finland just for a year. So I had no idea after that if I'd still be in shape or if I still had it, essentially. But after a good summer, it was good to be back running.
So you did high school and then to finish military year, then came to Chadron State?
Yep, I was legally obligated.
Right.
So I had to go do that year, but after that year, I was ready to go.
Can you talk about that at all? Can you say what you had to do for that 1 year of military service? I know some of that stuff's a little top secret and different countries have different regulations, but I'm sure fans would be so interested to know how that transition went from high school to a year of military service and then over here to Chadron State.
Well, I'd say that was the toughest transition from high school in America back to Finland. My Finnish was a little rusty, and then they chose me for squad leader training, which I ended up doing the second half year of that. So, but I think it built a lot of toughness in me doing that. We spent a lot of time in the woods, little food, little sleep, and I think that helped a lot coming into college where the adjustment was a lot easier.
Little food, little sleep. It's kind of hard to find that full night's sleep in college, getting used to school and the travel schedule and all the different things that student athletes you guys have to do. How did it feel for you to be the first place top finisher for Chadron State at regionals? You said that was one of your big goals. You come in as a freshman and you're top dog.
It was a huge honor. There's so many good athletes on the team. I mean, from top down, guys that were accomplished in high school, a lot of guys that are accomplished still. So I didn't think I'd be in that position, but I was glad to be. It was awesome.
Tell us a little bit about the run. What were some of the key moments in the race? If you can kind of think back and put yourself into the run, what were some key moments, some key thoughts of strategy, stuff that put you over the top to have a good finish?
I think the main strategy that helped out for us to run a good result was Coach had me and my friend, fellow true freshman Charles Fossey. We ran the full first half of the race together. It was planned out, first mile, strategic with Charles, and we ran side by side. So I think running with him helped me a lot to be able to push at the end for a good time.
Do you guys do that a lot during the season where in football it's scripting some plays maybe for the first series? You guys ran side by side. Do you do that during the regular season where you kind of plan that out and then break out and see how you can finish?
Essentially, first mile is usually planned.
Okay.
Coach will have us a first mile plan. Usually we'll have someone to run with or a certain time to hit. And those are always spot on, and they really set you up. And then I like to think it's first half is planned and the rest half's just how tough you are.
Great stuff. Topi Alahulta from Finland and Colorado, and we'll get to those things in Colorado, some of the areas you ran and training, and tie that into maybe what you did in Finland and stuff here in a moment as well. But first of all, when we're talking regionals and your season here at Chadron State, what do you think is the most important thing for you to be as most prepared as you can be to have a successful race?
I think just being with the teammates. We do everything together from, lunch to dinner to like abs after practice that we do on our own.
Yeah.
So I think that camaraderie with everyone and then just having fun on the trip on the way out in the hotel room. I think that sets us up for a great race because everyone's in a great mood going into it.
Seems like you guys have a lot of really great chemistry. You probably push each other. Race to race, you're saying, hey, Charles, I want you to see if you can get this mark. Or he says to you, hey, I want you to see if you can get this finish. You guys kind of push each other in that manner too?
Definitely. And every day at practice, every workout together with those guys. So that builds the chemistry.
That's great. Topi Alahulta with us here on the CSC Sports Roadshow. Training in Chadron, I wanted to ask you about that, but then you threw in the Finland background to me here too, and that's a surprise. That's really cool that I'm sure the geography and the area out maybe from there very different perhaps from where you are in Chadron. What's it like for you to train here in Chadron and then also when you were in Finland growing up?
Well, training in Chadron's awesome. I love that, like Coach was talking about earlier, there's always a little bit of hills going, so that really keeps the fitness up. Much different than Finland. Finland was pancake flat, but it was freezing cold. Like the winter, I mean, I think it was probably 5 months straight with snow on the ground. Had to run with little studs in my shoes. So icy.
How tough is that to try and run a long distance with studs in the shoes? Did you just get used to it? Do your feet hurt a lot more afterwards? I can't imagine trying to do something like that.
You kind of get used to it, weirdly enough. At first, the first few weeks out, you got some little foot issues. Then your feet get used to it, and you just run with the studs, and it's honestly almost as good as dry ground. Kind of limits like speed work you can't really do in deeper snow, but other than that.
Wow. All right. Topi Alahulta with us today on the show. It also says that you spent some time in Colorado. What about running and training in Colorado? Some of the areas you like to run and things maybe you've seen on your trails out that way?
I take a lot of pride in being from the Colorado running community.
Yeah. And Pine, right? The city?
In Pine, Colorado.
Right.
Yep. For Conifer High School. I would argue Colorado has the best running scene in America. So I think, that kind of built who I was. There's a lot of talented runners there, and then obviously the trails.
Yeah.
Especially up in Pine, Conifer area, there's a lot of dope trails we could run. A lot of cool runs by, flowing rivers. I loved running in Colorado for sure.
That's great. Topi, what do you want to improve the most in the offseason? You've already had a real successful freshman year. What do you want to do to get to that next level as a sophomore?
I think I want to work on my strength further. That's something Coach K worked a lot on with us this year. I hadn't been in the weight room much before college, so I think that was like one of the biggest things I did correct this year that I want to keep working on is being in the weight room, getting stronger.
All right, and what other sports are you interested in? Being from Finland, I'm a hockey fan myself, love ice hockey. Are you an ice hockey fan? What other sports do you like?
I'm not as big a hockey. I'm a huge Broncos fan,
yes,
which has
sir.
been extremely unfortunate this year. But
so how do we get that fixed? What's the problem, you think? Is it coaching? Is it Russ? Is it we were just talking about this before the show, some of the guys here at the restaurant. What do you think gets the Broncos fixed this year, or is it fixable? I don't know if it is.
I think it's a terrible situation, but I think it's mostly coaching. I think Russ can be fixed. I think Russ can still cook potentially. At least that's what I hope. I think, fire the coach, maybe a fresh start next year.
Well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but you took that question like a champ and gave a good opinion, your true opinion. I'm kind of with you. I think Russ may still have a little more in there. Hopefully we can get him to scramble around a little bit, trying to make some plays down the field. Great to hear you're a Broncos fan, Topi. And we'll finish up with your major at CSC. What are you studying? What kind of stuff do you want to do after school for a career?
So I'm a secondary English education major, which has been a lot of fun, actually. I think I have less homework than all of my teammates, pretty much. And
that's not a bad thing, right?
No, and then my goal after college is I'm going to get my master's in Finland, kind of utilize the free college there, and then hopefully either teach high school English in Finland, or I'm kind of leaning towards U.S. now just because of the opportunity to coach high school cross country. I think that'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. Sounds like you'd be very successful at that as well. Topi Alahulta, freshman at Chadron State College on the cross-country team, one of the top runners, had a great freshman season. Topi, thanks so much for being on the show tonight. It was great to meet you and introduce you to the fans. Appreciate having you on. Thanks for having me. All right, we will take a break. We'll come back with more from tonight's CSC Sports Roadshow live at the Ridge. Coming up next, we've got Jacob Jefferson, former men's player and now a assistant basketball coach with the CSC women's team. We are live tonight from the Ridge on the Roadshow, presented by Security First Bank.
The new Valor General Store in Hemmingford has hardware, housewares, lawn and garden, plumbing, Benjamin Moore paint, electrical, auto supplies, and more. Check out the gun shop in Hemmingford Tuesday through Saturday, 8:30 to 5:30.
CSC Rd Show, proudly presented by Security First Bank.
And welcome back. We are live tonight at the Ridge. It's the CSC Sports Road Show brought to you by Security First Bank. Whiskey and Wings Wednesday is always here at the Ridge. Our thanks to Luke Karamitros and Topi Alahulta from the cross-country squad at Chadron State for being our first guests here on the show. We're right about 6:30 here tonight as we move into the back end of the program and talk a little basketball. It's winter season, cold outside, time to be inside at the gym, shooting hoops and coaching hoops with Jacob Jefferson next, right, Jake? It's the time of year, right, for basketball?
Yes, sir. Been waiting for it for a long time.
It's good to have you on, Jake. I remember calling your games a few years back, and we'll get into some of that and what you're up to now. Thanks for being in here today. Fans, you'll remember Jacob Jefferson. He played for CSC, of course, for several years, and now is on the women's coaching staff. You're assisting Janet Raymer with the CSC ladies, so kind of getting your feet wet in the coaching profession. We talked before a game recently, and you told me you were really loving it. You really like this new role as a coach. Talk to us about how much you love it and why so.
Like you said, man, I really, really love this job. I don't do the same thing 2 days in a row. It's always something new, and this is really just the closest thing I can get to playing. So, I mean, I miss playing, but love what I'm doing. And like they said, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, and I've enjoyed every moment of it.
That's right. And what's some of the stuff you've learned about, day one, you're a coach. You probably come in thinking, okay, I think it's going to be this way. I want to do it this way. And now here you are, 5-6 games in. What kind of things are you realizing may be different than you expected when you began your coaching style?
I learned that there's a lot more to the game than just the game. The preparation that goes into it, the scouting, just planning everything out, getting ready, just preparing for everything is something that's a little more difficult than it was when I was just playing, but something that I've grown to really love.
So what's the difference then, player and coach? You've been on both sides of it. You played here for, 3 seasons with CSC, right?
Yes,
yeah, so 3 seasons. Now in your first few games as coaching, I'm sure there's a lot more that you can learn and differences you'll notice, but some of the things that have started out to this point that are different from side to side.
Playing was way, way easier.
Yeah.
You just show up. They give you a schedule listed out. You go to weights, you go to practice, you go to your game. Coaching, like I said, is preparation. You have to do your scouts. You have to get everything prepared, shooting times, and just organizing and arranging everything that week. It adds up. It's a lot more than just playing.
So as a player, they're doing it for you, and as a coach, now you're the one doing it for all of them. Are you taking some things that you had set out for you as a player and thinking, hey, that really didn't work for me so much when my coaches made me do that or scheduled it this way, I'm going to kind of put my own twist or try something different here?
I actually give props to the coaches I had here at Chadron. I learned a lot from them, and I think they kind of set the pay, set the road for me. And I've learned so much from Reed Pabin and Coach Raymer already, and it's as much as I say I like to add a twist, it's really them just teaching me piece by piece of it.
That's great. Yeah, they set the stones out and show you how to really succeed at that coaching profession. That's awesome. Jake, so what's your primary role for Coach Raymer and for the team when you're on the bench? Are you doing coaching things or in practice? Are you coaching, or do you handle most of the scouts and different things like that? What kind of things are you doing as the AC?
Me and Coach Becky Soares, she's over at Coach Becky Watson, sorry.
That's all right.
Me and her split kind of go through everything that deals with travel, planning out meals for the team. We run through scouts, recruiting, just about everything that an assistant coach would do, it's hard to explain, hard to get into. It's just a ton.
It is, and certain coaches will handle a certain individual segment. Some kind of take it all on and try to fit it in. So you said food and travel. Do you since you played in the RMAC, do you have a pretty good scout on where all the good food places are that you're lining that up?
I got a couple little spots for us. Yeah, we plan them out pretty well.
All right. Well, what's one of your favorite from your playing days, or one you're looking forward to this year? I don't know how far in advance you're planned out, but there's some good food in the RMAC.
I couldn't even tell you the name of it. There's a little Italian joint near CCU. We'll have to visit that one if we can.
Oh, yeah. I've been there several times with the teams. I know exactly the Italian place you're talking about. They make some great food. Jake, the women's team this year, I'm still looking for that first victory, and hopefully we'll get it at home in front of our fans here this weekend. You guys are mixing in a lot of new players, too, and that can always be a challenge in itself, getting everybody on the same page and building early. So conference actually gets started Friday with Pueblo and then Highlands. So big games really coming up. What do you and Coach Raymer having your team focus on for preparation this week as you get ready to take on the Thunderwolves?
This whole week mainly has just been shooting with confidence. Our shooting numbers haven't been as high as we'd like them, and I know we have some better shooters than what we're showing. So shooting with confidence and just playing tough and playing with some grit and taking a win, not just wanting a win, taking a win from them.
It's a great kind of mantra to go by. Go out and take it. Don't wait for it to happen or let it come to you. And you were a heck of a shooter in your time, Jake. You could make the inside ones. We all know that with your size and ability down there around the basket. Step out, nail threes, and tough guy to guard. Is there what kind of techniques or what kind of things do you try to teach the shooters or have them think about or work on to improve that shooting percentage and make sure those balls go through the cylinder?
Main ones, just square your shoulders, set your feet, and stick it, follow through.
Have you always been a good shooter, Jake?
Oh, no.
Or did you have to really train
it took some time. It really did. I shot the ball like a minute bowl when I first started.
That's an interesting form.
Yeah, way back behind my head. It was terrible.
Yeah. Well, it's probably still prettier than my shot. So
yeah, we'll get you in the gym.
Oh, I could use the help. Use the help. Jacob Jefferson with us, former Eagle player and current women's basketball assistant coach on the Road Show here tonight at the Ridge. Jake, let's talk about your playing career a little bit. Fans have been around for a while, have seen you play. They know what kind of player you were. Very, very good. You finished your career during the COVID-19 season, a very challenging time for everybody, but you became one of the toughest players to guard in the league during your time with Chadron State, with obviously your size that the folks here can see in the building, and as I mentioned, the three-pointers. What are some of the things that you're going to really remember from playing with Chadron State?
To be honest, what sticks out the most and what always sticks in my mind is just the relationships I was able to grow with the coaches and my teammates. I mean, I still keep in touch with a lot of them. I mean, even from my first year playing, whether it be Michael Sparks to my last year playing, be Walker Andrew. I mean, I talk to all of them still, and I've grown relationships and made a bunch of great friends that I'll keep forever.
Yeah, and so many student athletes tell me about that, about the trips and the relationships and the experiences and the conversations you guys have and becoming tight and close and friends and things that you'll take on forever. Was there, a moment or a game or a shot that was your favorite that you remember from your playing career?
I'd have to stick, I'd say Fort Lewis when we beat them on the road. They had a player named Riley Ferris, and he was tough.
Yeah.
He was an All-American that year.
7-footer?
Oh, yeah. And he was shooting threes, and it was just really hard to guard him. But beating him on the road and winning that game, it just meant a lot. It was a good one for us.
You know, you bring up Riley and yourself as well in that sense you can play inside and outside. Do you feel like there's more of that in college basketball now or in the NBA, or there should be? Like, just trying to find guys that can do that like you makes teams that much better because, I mean, who the heck do you put on to defend in a certain area of the floor?
I think it makes a team a lot better. It makes them harder to stop when a player is able to score inside and out. And I don't know. It's a great look for us, I think. It is. So.
Yeah. Now, how about NBA or college players that you like to watch or maybe pattern your game after? Was there somebody that you sort of looked at and said, hey, I want to be able to do what this guy does on the court, and I'll be really tough to stop?
That'd be my two favorite players is Dirk Nowitzki and Hakeem Olajuwon. Just the footwork inside from Hakeem and the long-range shooting from Dirk is who I tried to base it off of, and I know I wasn't like that, but that's who I tried to mimic.
That's a good pair there, a couple of Hall of Famers and legends to pattern games after their Dirk Nowitzki and Hakeem Olajuwon. Is Jacob Jefferson, women's basketball assistant coach, former player here for the Eagles at CSC back in Chadron. And Jake, continuing with your playing career, had a tough ending, and I know I'll never forget it. I mean, I was almost in tears there calling that ball game because you just kind of knew it was that situation at South Dakota Mines, a knee injury. What did you rely on to kind of get you through the difficulty of the season with the COVID challenges that we already had mentioned? All this happened in the same season, and then you have the knee injury, and it all came to an end. That was probably tough to really swallow at that time.
Fortunately, I had two knee surgeries ahead of that, so it kind of wasn't as hard to adjust to. But I mean, just the love and the support of my family and friends, it really helped me get through everything. And I mean, I reached out to my parents and my friends every single day, and they helped me get through it.
Yeah, it was a tough moment, but you mentioned the prior knee injuries you had that you had to work through to get back, and it kind of softened the blow, I guess, of that final one and that seventh game that you were playing that year. As a coach now, what kind of stuff from back then in the tough times where you were trying to get through those things do you share with the ladies now on your team, or as you're coaching out here, what do you try to pass along to them to say, hey, this is a tough time I've been through, this is how I learned to get through it, stuff like that? What do you do to help them out?
The main one is just tell them keep their head up, stay motivated, and realize that it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. rehab is incredibly important. The stretching, the physical therapy you need to do. If you don't take it as serious, you won't come back the right way, and it can just be kind of a problem. On top of that, just take care of the small things before they turn into big things. So if you have a little nagging injury, then get rid of that before it gets to a big one.
You bet. Jacob Jefferson on our program tonight. We're live here at the Ridge, the CSC Sports Roadshow, brought to you by Security First Bank. Jake, what's your academic path now? Grad school, major? What do you want to do? And maybe go into the coaching realm full time at some point?
That's for sure the plan. I'm thankful for Coach Raymer to have introduced me to coaching and to bring me into the program, and I've loved every moment of it. And that's something I definitely want to do. Eventually, I'll want to head coach somewhere.
Okay. So are you in school now, or are you
currently not taking classes?
Okay. All right. So you can focus quite a bit on that coaching then full bear. And Jake, who's inspired you in your life? We talked about on the court. You said Elijah Wan and Nowitzki, but who's somebody out there that's really inspired you?
I have to just bring it to my parents. My father put a basketball in my hands at an early age. I want to say like fifth, sixth grade. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the ones that would take me to the backyard and beat me down and make me a little mentally tough, and that helped me out a lot. And then my mom, anytime I'd get down on myself or I wouldn't want to go out and work harder, she would remind me that she can't want it more for me than I want it for myself. And that was something that's always stuck with me.
Great stuff, Jacob. Really appreciate you being on the show. It's good to see you back in Chadron and on the bench with Coach Janet Raymer. Good luck to you two and the entire ladies team this week against Pueblo on Friday, New Mexico Highlands on Saturday. We'll be there with the radio broadcast and hopefully a couple of wins for CSC women's basketball. Jacob Jefferson. All right.
Yes, thank you for
Jake,
having
thanks
me.
so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Jacob Jefferson, our third guest tonight. We've got our final guest coming up, and that is Porter Anderson of the men's basketball team. So we'll talk to Porter coming up here shortly. From the Ridge, it is our CSC Sports Roadshow. We're live until 7 o'clock here tonight, and our show is always brought to you by Security First Bank. So stay with us. We've got Porter Anderson coming up next.
Are you new to the firearms industry? Want more information or training? The gun shop at Valor General Store in Hemingford can help you select your first firearm. Don't see what you're looking for? We will special order items as well. Tell us it's your first time in the store and you'll get a free gift.
CSC Rd Show, proudly presented by Security First Bank.
Okay, welcome back to our CSC Sports Roadshow, brought to you by Security First Bank here tonight in Chadron. We do this once a month on Wednesdays. It's actually our second November one technically today with the way the schedule worked out, but we'll be back with you once again first part of January at the Ridge for our next show. A lot of basketball, a lot of winter sports focus coming up on that one, so we invite you to join us. It's 6 to 7 o'clock on those Wednesday shows, but come early around 5:30. You can stay as late as you want here at the Ridge. Have fun, hang out, and enjoy Whiskey and Wings Wednesday, and have just a great time visiting with student athletes like Porter Anderson, who we're going to talk to in just a moment, coaches, fans. It's always a great time. So again, thank you for coming down, being part of the show, and for tuning in tonight as well on WQ Country. We are on YouTube as well with the show. We have a video posting of the program. That'll be up tomorrow for you. We'll send out links on that, and also the podcast audio as well. So if you're driving somewhere, headed somewhere, you want to throw it on your iPad or just listen wherever you can on your phone, you can download the audio podcast links too. Whew. Porter, now we get to talk.
All right.
All right. Porter Anderson is next here with us. He's in his second year with the Chadron State College men's basketball team. Terrific guy, kind of building a great following of friends and fans around town. Porter, it's always great to see you and see the big smile around town. I know a lot of people enjoy watching you play and have gotten to know you the last couple of years. How you doing tonight? First and foremost, welcome to the show. We appreciate you being on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me. It's been a great day. Had a great practice with the guys. Really looking forward to the games this weekend.
Conference play getting started. CSU Pueblo, New Mexico Highlands. We'll maybe look ahead a little bit to that here in a minute. But first, you're in your second season, as I mentioned. So you're one of the guys on the team that's been around here for a little while. A lot of new players on the team, and things are coming together pretty good. 2-0 Thanksgiving weekend. How was the trip down there to Texas for the Thanksgiving games?
Oh, it was an amazing trip. Felt great to get some wins. We're coming back with a lot of confidence. And actually, it was the first time my mom got to see me play in college. So that was a really great experience to play in front of her and then my other family.
And you're from Arkansas originally, right? So
yes.
This was the first time that your mom got to see you play in college.
Yes, sir.
What an amazing feeling. Were you down there on the floor? Did you look up, give her a wave, a smile?
Oh, yeah. I gave her a couple smiles. Got a dunk for her. And she came up with some shirts. And she was wearing matching shirts with my siblings, so that was cool.
You had your own fan club out there.
Yes, sir.
That had to boost you up to play well, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Well, it's great to get a couple of wins in front of mom and the family down there. Tell us about the games a little bit. You played a couple of schools that we don't really see, Jarvis Christian and Ecclesia, I think is how they say it.
Yes, sir.
What were those two teams like? What were the games like?
Our biggest focus going in was, staying disciplined throughout the entire game and being able to play with the lead. That's one thing that we haven't had experience with this far in the season, and it was really good for us to be able to build a lead and make some mistakes and learn from those mistakes on how to maintain the lead and how to win.
Porter, you guys crushed Kearney. That's a big deal around here. They're an arch rival, the Lopers. We want to beat them in every single sport, so that was huge as well. That was before you went to Texas, so you kind of got a little confidence injection when you were heading down to Texas. Do you feel like it gave you guys a big boost when things really came together at UNK for that big win?
It definitely did. The atmosphere in the locker room after that win was incredible. It's one of the most memorable things in my life. And, just looks on the guys' faces, it was a look of, like, this can work, we can win. Like, it was a lot of belief, a lot of, realizing, like, the hard work that we put in the off season and in the summer is finally starting to pay off and turn into wins.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned the locker room stuff after. I won't ask you the specifics on that. I know a lot of stuff stays in Team House, and that's good. That's where it should be. But in building a team with chemistry and finding everything coming together, it sounds like you guys really realized that night, hey, we know who's going to fit in what spot, who's going to do what, and this is going to work, as you mentioned. How hard is it to build that chemistry with so many new pieces all at once, right at the beginning of a season?
Oh, it's definitely a very difficult job, and, shout out to Coach Pavin, Coach Hilton. They did an amazing job holding us to a very high standard, and, not wavering on that. These are the expectations that he set, and, we don't move on until we reach those expectations. And so having that, consistent, just, someone pushing us, day in and day out has been incredible, and it's really helped build chemistry.
Delighted to have Porter Anderson on the program here tonight. You can find him down around the basket for Chadron State men's basketball, doing a lot of really good things, dunking the ball, grabbing rebounds, and playing tough, really keeping the team in a positive mindset and playing well. Against Sioux Falls, Porter, you went for 24 points, 8 out of 10 shooting. I can see you're getting that big smile on your face. You know that was a big night for you and a fun one for the fans. They love to see it. You were really locked in, and it seemed like you were playing really aggressive that night, especially on the rebounding side of things. Has that been a big focus for you going into this year, to attack the basketball, get a lot of rebounds, and help out in that regard, especially offensively? A lot of O-boards that night.
Yes, sir. Getting more offensive rebounds has been a real focus for me, especially over the summer. Just because it translates to extra possessions, and the more possessions you have, the more opportunities you have to score, and the more opportunities you have to score, with the way that we're shooting the ball as a team, it'll translate to wins. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun to see, being able to get those second opportunities, and it almost came up with a victory. And with the overtime loss that you had in the second game at Texas, and then a really close game against Sioux Falls on a last-second shot, essentially, that won that game. Did what you guys learned and went through in those two, did you learn a lot from that to be able to now get on this little bit of a run? And what kind of stuff did you take from those games, despite being a loss? Certainly something you can take forward. In our first 3 games, some of the guys and I talked about it in the locker room. We pretty much lost every way possible. Lost on a comeback, lost in overtime, lost on a buzzer beater. So I'm glad that we're getting these these types of experiences out of the way now and not, when it's conference tournament or national tournament time.
Yeah, might as well get the different styles of loss. Just get them out of the way, and then that'll be the end of it, right? Just wins from here on out.
Right. So now that we know how to win, it's winning's the expectation going forward.
Coaches talk a lot about that, getting a winning mindset, knowing how to win. On the outside, you look in and think, well, you just score more points than the other team. It's pretty simple, right? But there really is something to having a winning mindset, and you hear it from players. What is that to you, having that winning mindset? What is your winning mindset?
Understanding that it's the little things that matter. Everyone can hit a big shot at the end of the game, but it's that possession, that loose ball, that 50-50 ball with, 16 minutes left in the first half that matters, because a lot of the conference games come down to 1 or 2 possessions, and just valuing every single time that we're on the floor, doing whatever it takes to make those winning plays. And then it also starts in practice, not just practice, getting in the gym extra, getting your reps in, making sure that, when your number is called, that, you're ready to, knock down a big shot or get a big stop.
Visiting with Porter Anderson on the CSC Sports Road Show tonight, live at the Ridge. What do you feel like this team is capable of this season, Porter? We have seen some really nice flashes of what it looks like when it all comes together, and it's pretty darn exciting.
I think that we are capable of playing for a national championship, because I fully believe that, and we are so dangerously close. And the guys know that we still have work to do, and we're not satisfied with just 3 wins in a row. Like we expect to win every single time we step on the court, and the national title is what we expect. I
love it. You can't have high successes without high expectations, right?
Right.
That's fantastic. Fantastic. I love to hear that. Tell us something really unique about yourself, Porter. I love the story about your mom. Got to finally watch you play in college. That's unique and great. But what's something else fans ought to know about Porter Anderson other than your domination down there on the ball court?
I love playing golf and tennis.
Okay.
Love it. Like that's my favorite, pastime, in the off season when it's warm.
So what are you better at, golf or tennis?
Tennis.
Tennis.
I'm almost undefeated. There are a couple people on campus that I haven't beaten yet, but
anybody on the basketball team that plays tennis with you?
Coach Hilton, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's my guy. We go back and forth. I think we're tied in our series right now.
Tied in the series.
Yes, sir.
I got to get the gear out there and broadcast the next tennis. I don't even know much about tennis, but I'll give it a shot. See who wins that. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. So, how about the golf side of things too? Is there some courses around here you enjoy playing, or for maybe back in Arkansas or back home?
So the Shadron course is my second favorite course. My home favorite is the one I used to play on when I lived in Africa for about a year and a half. That was the course I grew up on, and it'll always have a special place for me.
Yeah, that's great. Porter Anderson with us, not just a basketball player, a tennis star, and a golfer as well. Porter, what are some other teams and maybe players, coaches, things that, guys that you look up to, or teams you like watching in the NBA or college basketball? Anything like that?
So a college team I love watching is the Razorbacks. I'm an Arkansas guy. But in terms of NBA players, I like watching Joel Embiid. He's just a real dominant player, and if I could take some things from his game and incorporate it to mine, that'd be amazing. Did
you get a chance to go to a lot of Razorback games back when you were growing up down that way?
Not too many, but I did catch a couple, and they were incredible experiences.
Always kind of known for that 40 minutes of hell, they call it, defensively. When you guys are playing defense, you try to tap into that. Hey, we want to make it just unbelievably tough on this other side and be kind of a relentless type of defense like those Razorback great teams were?
Yes, sir. Like we want to be a team that, people are scared to play. It's like, they realize, like, hey, they're a tough opponent. They're not going to, let us score. You have to earn every basket you get. So that's the kind of team we want to be.
Interesting you say be a team that's kind of guys are scared to play. Would you rather be a team with, say, the bullseye on your back, or a team that's kind of lurking around, maybe not quite getting the respect that you feel like you deserve, and you can jump up and steal a win or two from teams that might be underestimating you guys? Is there one way to go into a game that's better than the other, do you think, for you?
Well, we definitely want the bullseye on our back, and we want to earn the respect of our opponents, and that's one thing we have to do. We have to go out and earn it, because right now I believe we're picked 13th in the conference, and
right.
We feel that is total disrespect, and so now it's our job to go out there and show them, like, hey, like, you got it wrong.
Got the chip on the shoulder all the guys do from that one, that preseason poll?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, boy, you guys are playing tough, winning 3 in a row, looking to make folks think twice about that preseason poll next year. Porter, what's your major and the career path that you're taking here after CSC? What do you want to do?
So right now, I'm in my undergrad for business administration with a focus on marketing. And afterwards, I want to find a way to help people. I know there's a lot of money in solving people's problems, and then just also seeing the smile on people's faces. So, yeah, that's kind of where I want to go.
Boy, that's terrific. Porter Anderson, tonight's final guest on the CSC Sports Road Show. Great to visit with you, learn so much more about you, Porter, and share your story with the CSC friends, family, and Eagle Country. Thanks so much for being on. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you got it. Good luck this week. You got CSU Pueblo and New Mexico Highlands.
Yes, sir.
Got to be excited for those two.
Yes, sir.
All right. Porter Anderson, our final guest. We're going to wrap up the CSC Sports Road Show right after this here on WQ Country.
The new Valor General Store in Hemmingford has hardware, housewares, lawn and garden, plumbing, Benjamin Moore paint, electrical, auto supplies, and more. Check out the gun shop in Hemmingford Tuesday through Saturday, 8:30 to 5:30.
CSC Rd Show, proudly presented by Security First Bank.
Closing out our final show of 2022. Welcome back to the Ridge here live in Chadron. A few more minutes left before we sign off for the Christmas season, the new year, and then we'll be back with you here at the Ridge on Wednesday evening in early January. We'll announce the date for that and also post all the guests when we get them lined up for that first show in January. A huge thanks tonight to our lineup of 4 terrific guests that came down to be on the program. Cross-country coach Luke Karamitros and freshman runner Topi Alahulta. They got things started with their recap of the great season that they had. Jacob Jefferson, assistant basketball coach for the women and former men's player. It was fun to go back in time a little bit with Jake and talk about his playing days and how he's helping the women's basketball program under head coach Janet Raymer this year. And then you just saw Porter Anderson. So what a guy, what a terrific player as well. Come out, support him, his team, and the ladies. Friday night, CSC takes on CSU Pueblo. 5:30 and 7:30 for the tip times, and we'll be on the air at 10 minutes before each, 5:20 and 7:20 for our pregame show on WQ Country, 97.5 and PanhandlePost.com. And then on Saturday, we've got another doubleheader with New Mexico Highlands here in town, and they have made the Saturday games earlier on those weekend schedules here. So if you're used to the 5:30, 7:30 on Saturday, it's now 4 and 6, I believe. Yes, 4 and 6. 3:50, even I got to get used to it still. 3:50 will be the pregame for the women, and then the women's game followed by the men's game with their pregame show as well. So join us for that. Again, on our next show coming up in January, we hope you join us down here at the Ridge. We want to thank our headline sponsor, Security First Bank, for being behind the show once again here in 2022 and looking forward in 2023. Our engineering sound guys, Sonny, Rob on the video, Derek, our engineer, coming all the way up from Central Nebraska to help get us put together here tonight. Big thanks to those guys and everybody in attendance here tonight as well for coming out to the CSC Sports Road Show. I'm Voice of the Eagles, Dave Collins. Have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll see you in January with more CSC Sports Road Show live from the Ridge in Chadron.
General Store in Hemmingford has hardware, housewares, lawn and garden, plumbing, Benjamin Moore paint, electrical, auto supplies, and more. Check out the gun shop in Hemmingford Tuesday through Saturday, 8:30 to 5:30.
CSC Road Show, proudly presented by Security First Bank.